Welcome back to Meteor Tutorials. And I say welcome back again, but really what I mean is welcome to, just in case you started with this one, right? Anyway, this tutorial is all about the AI chatbot. And if you've been watching the other tutorials and you got to this one, you're like, where is the AI chatbot? Well, if you look at the bottom right here of the screen, you notice the little AI button, and boom, there it is. There is the AI chatbot. This is Tess. This is our AI assistant, and this is where you can interact with Tess and ask her something. So when I first started talking about this project section, I mentioned that we're not really gonna, like teach you to do Scrum in these tutorials, right? That's something you might want to figure out on your own. Well, this is a perfect example of how you could do that. So you come into this area and you're like, I love Meteor. I love the automation piece of it. The AI interaction is great. It saves me a lot of time and money. I just have never done Scrum before. I don't use it. I don't know how to use it. This is a perfect place to start. So you can ask Tess, what's Scrum, right? And hopefully she'll talk about project management, but Scrum is also a rugby term, so I wouldn't be too surprised if you got that. But Tess is specifically, like our project management assistant. So she already knows this is for project management. She gives you pretty good overview of what Scrum is, and you can ask, more detailed information about things. You can say, okay, all these core components are great, but I don't really understand this. Like, expand on what the right. So you can continue to interact with her just like any other chatbot. She'll help you along the way. One of the other keys, right, is, if you didn't notice, it is a little bit grayed out there, but if you roll over this bottom left side, you can see that there's a copy button. If you wanted to, for instance, in this market analysis, let's say I didn't really like the buyer personas, right? There's a reason I'm showing you this. There's going to be a really cool thing to be able to just pop this open and say, Tess is not right now in the chatbot going to know that you're in the Sushi Finder project and be able to get the context of what it is that you're doing. Not yet. That is coming down the road. She can't do it yet. So you'll just have to tell her. You don't need a lot of details, but you can add some here. Boom. Okay, so gave that information, and now here comes Tess, popping out a bunch of information. Some of this maybe you don't need. Here's Emily, here's age range, right? Some of it maybe you do. Maybe you want all of this, right? And you go, this is amazing. It's definitely better than what I have right now. You're going to go ahead and click copy. You're going to immediately highlight over that and replace it. And then you're going to go, what in the world am I looking at? Why did it do this? Well, I'll tell you right now, the reason that it did this is Tess responds in Markdown, just like basically every AI chatbot that you're going to interact with. That's just how it comes out. That's how it's going to be copied. So when you do copy stuff from the AI, just be prepared to have to work through this Markdown stuff. It's everywhere. You're not going to get away from it, unfortunately, right now. And we're not. This isn't the end state. We are going to be working to make this paste into the editor form in a formatted way, right? So you don't have to do what I'm doing right now, which for right now you will. But it's important to note that as it stands, you'll have to do this. Okay, I'm not going to continue, but you get what I mean. Like, you'll have to be like, okay, this is a, this is just bolded. This is also bolded. This is bolded. These are all bullet points, right? So you'll just have to come through and... Anyway, you get the idea. So that's the best way to use the chatbot to sort of enrich the documents that you're working on, even though you'll need to do a little bit of extra work to reformat them in the document format, getting them outside of these this markdown format. And then finally, the very last thing is up here. You'll see the clear chat button, right? Well, I guess this is sort of the very last thing. There's two things. You can clear the chat, the whole chat, by clicking this button, and I'll show you that in a second. But before I do, there's two important things to cover. First thing is this is going to remember 100 messages at a time. Okay, so as you type, once it gets to 100, the first message you ever typed will go away, and the 100th message, the 101st message will be at the bottom, and then it'll continue in that manner, where the oldest messages are deleted and the newer ones appear in the chat as you go. It's 100 total between you and Tess. Now, considering that it's 100, it's very unlikely that you're going to get to the bottom and want to scroll all the way up to the top, but maybe you do, maybe you don't. Right now it's 100, and we'll see kind of what the usage looks like over time. Yeah, and then the last thing to consider is that this is saved in your browser storage. So if you access Meteor from a separate browser, you're not going to get the saved messages. You're going to get a whole different list of messages that are saved. So again, this will be improved in subsequent updates, but this is the functionality of the chatbot Messenger as it stands. So there you go. That's everything you need to know to use and interact with our AI chatbot.